It's 4:30. This is WKYT This Morning. One man is dead after a shooting at police in Bourbon County. We'll have the latest details on this story that's been developing overnight coming right up.
A crash in Woodford County leaves one person dead and the interstate is still closed. We'll tell you when it should be back open coming up.
And Lexington police are asking for anyone who knows something about the recent shootings that have happened to come forward. That and your Kentucky weather forecast with changes coming up on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome in. Good to have you with us on WKYT. Already a busy morning in our newsroom. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Andrea Walker. It is Wednesday, October 19th, and it's actually already warm outside.
It is. It's nice. And
already.
And today's going to be pretty nice.
It is.
Just not quite that warmth we had yesterday. Then those big changes are coming. And we want to check in very quickly here in the WKYT First Alert Weather Center with Micah.
Yeah, and yesterday it was record warmth. I mean, then we're looking in toward today. We won't see record warmth, but what we're going to be looking at, some showers and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder. You already see that in Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties in far northern Kentucky. Look at the temperature spread. 56 in Monticello down south, 71 right now in Lexington and Frankfort, 72 in Moorhead. I mean, the farther north you go, the better likelihood of actually staying in those 70s before that sun does rise. 80 degrees by the afternoon. It's not going to rise that much. And there could be a record down toward Jackson or London once again today. That would be the third consecutive day. But it's more about the rain chances northbound. We'll talk about that. I'll show you the highlighted area that I expect just the only chance of rain today. That's coming up.
All right, we have a lot to tell you about early. We have breaking news to begin with this morning. A man is dead after shooting at police in Bourbon County.
Kentucky State Police say they do not know how the suspect died just yet, but the scene is clear. Police say around 9:30, Paris Police and State Police were called to a home on Brent Street. When they tried to talk to the person inside the home, a shot was fired and that shot hit a police officer. Now, police say that officer was wearing a bulletproof vest and was not injured. The name of that officer has not been released. State Police are still processing the crime scene right now.
And Interstate 64 westbound in Woodford County is still closed at this hour, and it's more than 7 hours after a deadly crash there. A tractor trailer flipped onto its side around 9 o'clock last night in the westbound lanes at around mile marker 66. Now, that is between Midway and the Scott County line, in that area where Scott County comes down there around the interstate. Versailles police say the tractor trailer was driving eastbound when it crossed the median and ended up in an embankment. Police tell us the passenger in the truck was ejected and died at the scene. The driver was not injured. I-64 is closed at the westbound side between mile markers 64 and 69. And dispatchers have just confirmed to us in the last few minutes it'll be about another half hour to an hour before they can get the interstate reopened. So again, interstate closure westbound on I-64 there near the Woodford-Scott County line this morning. 3 shootings in Lexington in one morning resulted in 2 deaths, and another shooting more than a month ago killed a pregnant woman and her unborn baby. A disturbing trend. WKYT's Monique Blair talked with Lexington Police Chief Mark Barnard about the recent violence.
In our community, that's what we're experiencing, is kids killing kids.
Anita Franklin understands the pain of losing a child to gun violence. Her son, Antonio, was an innocent bystander when he was hit by a bullet in Duncan Park in 2014. 4 men, all under the age of 18, were charged in the case. Franklin has since made it her duty to put an end to violence. Her mission, to urge people to speak up if they see or hear any illegal activity.
We don't want retaliation, we want resolution, and so that's a beginning to it.
Lexington Police Chief Mark Barnard addressed the issue of violence at Tuesday night's council meeting. And although police have increased patrols in many of the areas that have seen increased crime, he says this really begins with the public wanting to see a change.
You know, people need to take a stand and say enough is enough. And whether it's their friend or their family member, and just say, we're not accepting that any longer.
We stand with him. You know, we need to get out in our neighborhoods and tell people, when you see something, you should say something. You know, disregard that old snitching antic. That's just a ploy to keep people afraid.
And as for the cases that are unsolved, Chief Barnard says if you know something, you could be the person who helps put an end to the senseless violence.
Somebody knows something.
And Chief Barnard says the shootings on Sunday morning are all separate cases and are not connected. Barnard also says there is a countywide curfew that says it is illegal for children under the age 18 to be out after 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday without a parent. That same curfew extends to 1 a.m. on weekends.
Lexington police are also warning that 2 fake GoFundMe pages have been set up using Trinity Gay's name. They say her family has nothing to do with either page. GoFundMe has since deactivated the pages. Funeral arrangements have been set for Trinity. A visitation will be held Saturday morning from 9 until noon at Southland Christian Church on Harrodsburg Road. The funeral will follow at noon.
Madison County's school leaders are addressing some rumors this morning that have spread around Madison Central High School. They say a group of students got into a fight at the school there last week and were suspended. But school leaders say rumors then spread that there would be another altercation among the suspended students when they go back to school this morning. School leaders say they have talked to the suspended students and to their parents, and they feel everything has been sorted out. But as a precaution, they say there will be an extra security presence at Madison Central High School today.
A driver was trapped in his tractor trailer for hours after it crashed in Pulaski County. The crash happened yesterday afternoon on the ramp between the Highway 914 bypass and the Cumberland Parkway near Somerset. Pulaski County Public Safety Director Tiger Robinson says the tractor trailer overturned, trapping the driver inside. It took 3 hours to rescue him. Investigators say he was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. Police are looking for an escaped inmate in Lewis County. According to the Lewis County Herald, 20-year-old Sean Ogden walked away from a work detail yesterday. He is a state inmate who is being held at the Lewis County Detention Center. Police say Ogden is from Frankfort and was serving a 3-year sentence for theft conviction in Franklin County. They say he would have been eligible for parole on November 1st.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump face off tonight in Las Vegas. It's their third and final presidential debate. Both candidates will try to shift the focus away from their own looming controversies. A CNN ORC poll out yesterday shows close contest between the two contenders in the crucial state of Nevada, as well as in North Carolina and Ohio. Weijia Jiang has a look at campaign 2016.
Donald Trump spent the evening before the final debate vowing to bring term limits to Congress as president.
It's time to sweep the corruption out of Washington.
The Republican nominee goes into tonight's showdown as the underdog, having lost support among women voters amid multiple allegations of sexual assault and harassment. Just yesterday, 6 people came forward to corroborate claims leveled against him by a writer for People magazine, who says Trump forcibly kissed her during an interview at his Florida estate in 2005.
These were made-up allegations that were played up by the media, very unfair.
Clinton's campaign says she's ready to tackle questions surrounding the endless stream of hacked DNC emails. The latest batch published by WikiLeaks yesterday showed aides mocking former rival Bernie Sanders.
This is an effort that's led by the Russians that is designed to hurt our campaigns.
The format for tonight's debate is the same as the first, with Clinton and Trump standing at different podiums as they make their final case to millions of Americans. University of Las Vegas professor Jacob Thompson thinks tonight's event could be even uglier than the last town hall style debate.
From Trump, I think he will literally throw everything in the kitchen sink at Hillary, ranging from more talk of accusers against Bill Clinton to Breitbarty-type conspiracy theories.
All eyes will be on both candidates as they enter the debate hall to see if they shake hands at the start, something they avoided last time. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Las Vegas.
And according to the New York Times, the candidates' families reportedly won't shake hands as they enter the arena tonight. Mark Cuban will be one of Hillary Clinton's guests, and Trump is planning to bring the Kenyan-born half-brother of President Obama. You can watch the whole debate. It'll be right here starting at 9 o'clock tonight on WKYT. So
never a dull moment, is there?
Very interesting, you know. But you and LV are having a great time
right.
getting ready for this as we remember Center College doing the vice presidential debates twice, 2000 and 2012. So it's always exciting time at those campuses. It is 4:39, and WKYT this morning is just getting started. More news coming up.
Still ahead, teens are starting to get the message that texting while driving is dangerous, but what about using apps while driving? We'll show you the newest craze after Micah's forecast.
We do have some rain just to the north of us, and that's heading southbound. How far does it actually get south? And also, we'll see those temperatures dive big time later on in the work week. I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
It's a pretty nice start to the day. We're in the 60s and 70s outside earlier this morning. That's for everybody. But let me tell you this. You look far northern Kentucky, and that is where that front is located. The front doesn't really move through today. It sinks southbound just a bit. I would say I-64 corridor, roughly around that, and go northbound. That is your best bet. Down south, you guys don't have a chance of rain. It's really that central zones, I-64, and go north right now in Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties, even in Grant County, at least a piece of it, northern Grant. Look at these temperatures because of it. Where you see the cloud deck, we're in the upper 60s, lower 70s. Where you do not, we actually have a 56-degree reading. Right now in Monticello and Wayne County, 61 in London-Corbin area. London and Jackson, rather, actually hit a record high yesterday. 87 in Jackson, 85 in London. That was record highs. We'll talk about those further details coming up and later on in the forecast. But here's what it's looking like later on this afternoon. Mainly showers, far northern Kentucky through about noontime. I would say roughly noon. You could see those dive just a little bit farther south, and that will put us right here, maybe around Lexington even have a chance of rain. I'd say Lexington is more of a 30% chance of rain, but then you get off towards, say, Williamstown, Corinth, you're more like 50-60% chance of rain. So obviously the farther north you go, the better likelihood. We head off into the evening and night. It looks to fade away just a bit, but rain returns tomorrow, and this is the big bulk of rain that's coming on in. Showers and thunderstorms are expected for your Thursday. There is a marginal risk of severe weather all across the region. That goes for everybody watching right now. Marginal being the lowest end of severe weather risk, but it's still there. I mean, we're going to get some pretty heavy rain out of this too, and it's mainly going to be afternoon and evening that the bulk of the rain kind of slides on in here. So it's going to take some time that the really heavy rain moves on in. That means much of your day there on Thursday will be pretty dry for a lot of us. But then heading off into the evening and night, guys, that's when the heaviest rain slides on in. It should move out Friday morning over in the east. Much cooler air settles on in, but the 50s for highs and overnight lows on Saturday morning there in the 30s. We'll see if we'll get some patchy frost, but you know what? It's possible. So we'll have to watch that Saturday morning.
But no one's pulling for it.
Nobody's pulling for that. Not just yet. Not yet.
The changes begin. Thank you. It is 4:45. Teenagers say they are texting less when they're behind the wheel. That doesn't mean young drivers have stopped, though, using their phones.
Experts say using apps while on the road can be just as dangerous. Brianna Pitts explains.
Ask teens about texting behind the wheel, and it's clear they are getting the message that it's dangerous.
Do you text and drive?
No. But a new study conducted by Liberty Mutual Insurance and SAD found that teens don't feel the same way about apps. The study found that nearly 70% of teens surveyed admitted to using apps while driving, and nearly 80% believe they are not distracting.
So we'll head off to the left first.
Dr. William Horry is a researcher at Liberty Mutual and took 17-year-old Samantha Garcia for a spin on a test track to show her how distracting it can be. The most common apps used by teens are music and navigation, and our cameras clearly show how the navigation app repeatedly pulls her eyes away from the road.
Even a short glance away from the roadway can have a profound impact on your ability to respond.
I felt like I shouldn't be doing it because it's definitely my eyes off the road and I'm not going exactly straight.
So I feel like I wasn't really looking at the road.
And it's not just inexperienced drivers. Adults are also easily distracted. Dr. Horry took me out on the test track and observed as I was programming a navigation app.
Oftentimes you don't look up for long enough to really get an idea of what you're doing.
Experts say parents should encourage teens to use navigation apps before they start driving and to pull over if they feel they need to use another app. Brianna Pitts, CBS News, Boston.
A conundrum, you know.
It is, because I use the navigation all the time. I'm very guilty of that.
Well, a lot of people do. The technology developed and people want to use it, but then there are those risks involved. Keep that in mind. It's a balance. 4:47 is our time this morning on WKYT. As you rise and shine really early with us, we're glad you're along right now.
When we come back, one Pulaski County man on his way to work when his car started to shake, so he checked under the hood, and what he found was going to leave everybody surprised. That story is coming right up after the break.
Good morning. Welcome back in. 4:50, 10 till 5 on WKYT this morning. Police in southern Kentucky are warning businesses about some fake $100 bills that are deceiving people.
And they say these bills are actually passing counterfeit tests. In one case, police in Whitley County say the money was used to pay property taxes.
Sent to the bank, and the bank was the one that detected it, that it was counterfeit.
The Whitley County Sheriff says the fake money has been passed in Williamsburg and Corbin. He says this money does feel a little different than real money, and it is overly faded in some places. The sheriff has contacted the Secret Service over the matter. No arrests have been made so far.
New this morning, workers at 2 Jim Beam distilleries here in Kentucky are still waiting for what they call a fair contract. Workers in Claremont and Boston have been on strike since Saturday morning when their contract expired. More than 200 employees walked off the job to protest. Union members say they're being overworked to keep up with demand for Jim Beam products. Workers say all they want is to be treated fairly.
And we just want the respect is all we're wanting. A fair contract with gray areas cut out and no open ends.
Jim Beam has released a statement saying, quote, "We remain committed to doing what we can to promote a timely resolution that is in the interest of our union employees and our business," end quote.
A man has died after a crash in Rockcastle County. State police say it happened Monday afternoon on Highway 70 near the Highway 150 intersection. They say a car driven by 67-year-old Johnny Maybrier of Broadhead dropped off the side of the road, hit an embankment, and flipped. They say Maybrier was airlifted to UK Hospital where he later died. Police say he was not wearing a seatbelt.
Firefighters are trying to figure out what caused a fire that caused some damage near a home in Garrett County. The fire started late yesterday afternoon in an outbuilding off Mount Hebron Road near Lancaster. Firefighters say the fire destroyed the outbuilding along with 2 cars and some equipment. Fortunately, nobody was hurt there.
All right, this is an interesting story. A Pulaski County man says he received quite a surprise when he arrived at work yesterday morning. Jonathan Muncie says he found an armadillo under his car hood. He says when he got in his car, he noticed paw prints on his car but didn't think anything about it. But as he drove to work, he realized something wasn't right.
I felt like a rumble in the car. The car kind of shook just a little bit, and I knew that's nothing normal. So.
When he got to work in Somerset, he says he looked under the hood and saw the armadillo. He called in Fish and Wildlife, who forced the armadillo out of the car, and then they had to actually chase it, so I guess he's okay. They've captured it and taken it to safety. Fish and Wildlife say armadillos are not native to this part of the country.
Somehow may have gotten in here out of Texas or somewhere. Okay, a Lexington organization is trying to raise enough money to get a new roof for the Leslie County Animal Shelter. Sisters Saving Shelters has already raised $4,000 toward the new roof. The goal is $6,000. 10 of the kennels at the shelter are being protected only by a tarp, which has to be replaced every couple of weeks. Officials say they hope they can get the remaining $2,000 quickly so they can get the roof built before wintertime hits.
All those little faces.
I was going to say, and they're in a race there with time, obviously.
That's exactly right.
Weather change is coming. And our time this morning is 4:53. Coming up next on WKYT, we'll have a look at some of the stories our news team is working on for you right now.
And we'll have another look at your morning forecast and the changes to come coming right up.
Good morning. Our time on WKYT is right now hitting 4:57.
And now it's time to take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
We'll have more on the shooting investigation in Paris overnight. You'll be hearing from police and find out the latest details on the investigation coming up here in just a couple of minutes. A story we've been tracking overnight, and also this I-64 closure that continues at least the next few minutes around mile point 69, a fatal accident there. Our newsroom's been busy in the overnight hours.
Very busy. In the meantime, we want to update you on your weather. It looks like another nice day ahead of us before those changes come our way. Micah?
Big changes. Yeah, once we get this front on through, remember, there's the front to the north of us that will bring us a rain chance, but it's not for everybody. It's central, northern zones. That's the best bet. Down south, you really don't have a rain chance. I can't rule out a 10% chance of rain for you guys, but for the most part, it's about the temperatures down south, the rain up toward the north. There are your temperatures this morning. 71 degrees right now in Lexington. We're going to go over that big temperature swing and also the rain chances coming up.